Hi, my name is Sasha Marsh, and I'm going to be discussing the effects of fenugreek on breast tissue and breast milk production. My question is, are there natural ways to increase breast tissue and breast milk production? This is relevant because a lot of women struggle with producing enough breast milk to support their baby or enough healthy breast milk to sustain them. The reason I chose this topic is because a few years ago, my cousin had two daughters. They were a few years apart, and the first one was breastfed and the second was formula fed. And I was kind of wondering why they did this. His wife has always had a smaller frame and less fat on her body, and it didn't really change between both children. So I was wondering why they chose to raise them differently and what the difference was between the two times of having those children. One place I heard discussing fenugreek and the effect it has on breast tissue was TikTok. There was a nursing mom who was saying how she was struggling to produce enough milk, and she had also heard that fenugreek may potentially increase breast tissue and therefore increase breast milk production. So she decided she was going to try for a few weeks and observe the effects. This is not a reliable source because she is not a doctor and has no medical background to say whether this is actually safe or not. The empirical article that I chose was the effect of fenugreek on breast milk production and the weight gain among infants in the first week of life. This is written by Rena Ravi and Jasmine Joseph and was published in September 2020, so it is pretty recent. It also checks all the boxes of an empirical article. It has the introduction, objective, methods, results, and conclusion section. The introduction section begins by asking why this is relevant at all. And it is relevant because if a mother cannot produce milk for her baby, it can actually cause depression in mothers because they don't get that skin-to-skin contact with their child, which is really important for the mother-baby bond, and it actually lowers the stress levels of the mother when she gets him or her on her chest. Unhealthy milk also risks the health of the baby, and healthy breast milk promotes healthy weight gain and fights against childhood obesity. Fenugreek is a plant whose seeds are dried out and be ground up into a powder, which can be made into a tablet or put into a capsule to take as a vitamin. Fenugreek stimulates hormone precursors that help enhance breast milk because it contains phytoestrogen, which is a plant-like estrogen compound, and estrogen helps boost and increase breast milk production. So there was a study done in India showing how low it ranked on breastfeeding lists, the amount of children that were breastfed within an hour of birth was really low. It was less than a quarter, so it was actually 21%. The methods they went about this, they did an experiment whether fenugreek would affect breast milk production, and they would see a change. They were looking for a change in weight or frequency of urination in the infants. So they gathered 60 postnatal mothers, so mothers that had just given birth, and they randomized a code and selected 30 of them that were going to be in the experimental group versus the control group. The requirements were that they had given birth within a week, the baby was healthy, the milk supply was poor according to a health professional, and they were willing to be in the study. So they couldn't have breast cancer, they couldn't have had breast surgery, they couldn't be clinically ill, and they could not be consuming other herbs to help increase breast milk production. So this experiment checks those boxes. So the results section was just a really long table, giving statistics on whether the mother had a vaginal birth, whether she was Hindu or Muslim, what the sex of the baby was, whether the baby was premature. And then they discussed the effects, and it increased those that have been taking fenugreek. It increased the volume of breast milk, and the infant's weight increased, and the chemical compound of the breast milk also changed. The babies also would cry more frequently if the mother had been taking fenugreek. So the conclusion was that fenugreek does increase breast milk and help postnatal mothers.